Want to be a topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentilers teaching you the tips and tricks.
Hi guys, a very good afternoon to one and all. Welcome to another session from BYJU'S Exam Prep. So friends, today's session is going to be about discussing how many mocks should a student write for preparing, or rather when you're preparing for various MBA entrance exams. Now we always talk about the importance of mocks, we talk about you should write mocks, but today I'm going to talk about exam wise. What is in my opinion, this is my opinion, in my opinion, what I think is a good number of mocks for you to write depending upon which exam you are writing. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I have about 8 or 9 exams that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to give you, and when should you write these mocks? That's also very important. So it's not that you should be writing the mocks all together, right? So I'm going to give you a timeline for mocks. When do you write the first mock? For example, should you write your XAT mock today? Should you write your SNAP mock today? Or should you keep writing only your CAT mocks right now? And so on and so forth. So these are the areas that we're going to discuss today, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the number of mocks needed per exam. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the importance of mocks, which I keep repeating myself quite a lot because in my last 15 years of training experience, I have seen students doing the same mistake again and again. It's just that I have been training students for 15 years, but every year the students change. So every year the same mistakes get committed. And I keep giving the same advice. Do not wait till the end to write your mocks. Please start writing your mocks earlier, as early as possible. So I'm going to give you few important points as far as mocks are concerned. So very good afternoon, Vijay, Kanaya, Vaibhav, Shubham. So let's go ahead and take a look at the important parts, the reason why you should, why these mocks are very important. First thing is, each exam is different. Obviously, a CAT exam is different from XAT. XAT is different from SNAP. It's not that all of them are same. Yes, the syllabus is almost 90% same, you can say, or 95% is same, but the pattern is different. So the reason why you need to write different mocks for different exams is simply because the pattern is not the same. You cannot prepare for one kind of an, so it's like your cricket, right? Your bowling pitch is different from a batting pitch. You can't say that my strategy for a pitch which is good for bowlers or spinners especially is going to be the same strategy for my batsman, or a flat pitch where batsmen can hit sixes all over the place. Or if it is a flat pitch which is very, very good for, a bouncy pitch which is very good for fast bowlers, you can't say that the strategy is going to be the same. So in cricket or in any sport, depending upon the arena, unless you're talking about a table tennis or a badminton where it doesn't matter. But if you're talking about tennis, the court matters, the clay court or a lawn court. I mean, different pitches or different arenas will have different strategies. Here also, it is the same. You cannot go with the same mindset for all kinds of exams. Every exam has a strategy of its own, or needs a strategy of its own. That is what these mocks will help you do. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the second important reason. So these are like your training grounds. As I said, you will first understand what is this exam, or rather, how is this particular exam different from the previous exam that I wrote. Then you will realize, oh, this is a difference. So to understand it, then to develop a strategy, you need mocks. So you will commit mistakes for sure. There's no doubt about it. So imagine, nobody is going to give you on a first day, if you are applying for license, saying that, okay, take the car and go. You have to first go through a training, or you have to go through a driving school. You need to do it on a place where there are no people. Otherwise, you're going to go and hit them, right? So your mocks are like your training ground or your net practice. You practice all varieties or different things in your mocks. You'll commit mistakes. You will know your weaknesses. Only if you look at doing various things will you know your mistake. You will also not just your mistakes and weaknesses, you will also know your strengths. You will know what is it that you're good at. You will know what is it that you are not good at. Therefore, you will have to decide, should I increase, or rather, should I increase my time, or should I kind of work more on my weaknesses? Or is this weak area for me not really a bother point? What if the weak area happens to be a topic which is rarely asked in the exam? If that is the case, why should you bother? But if your weak area is an area which is very commonly asked in the exam, then you should be worried, because a lot of questions come from that area, and that area is weak, which means you have to decide that, look, I can't let this area remain weak for me. I have to make sure that I am spending as much time as possible on it, and at least push it from that area of weakness to area of okay, if not strength. So this decision has to be done long before. You can't do it in the last 1 month. You can't do it in the last 2 months also. Right? So that is the reason why we say write as many mocks as possible. The other reason is understanding your strength, which I already mentioned. It's good for you to know what your strengths are, because when you're looking at any of these MBA entrance exams, we are talking about an exam where typically the time will not be sufficient to answer all the questions. Normally, that's how these exams are. Your traditional school exams, college exams, they will set a paper which is attemptable by anybody who studies average or above average, and you're able to finish it within the time. However, MBA entrance exams are the exams which will even throw some of the weirdest questions, which will stump even the people who are best prepared. So that is how the exam is. Right, so keeping that in mind, in this kind of an exam, it is always good to know your strength and start with your strength. Because when you're starting with an area which is your strength, you will be able to answer them quickly, and you'll gain confidence. Imagine the first 30 minutes of any mock or any exam that you're looking at, let's say CAT, XAT, NMAT, whatever exam, doesn't matter. First 30 minutes or first 20 minutes, you solved only one question. How will your state be? How will your state of mind be? Versus, imagine in the first 20 minutes, you answered like 8 or 10 questions correctly, or at least you got 10 answers. Look at how your state will be. So starting from your strength is good for you. For that, you should know what is it that you're good at. Okay? Then we are looking at, once you understand your strengths and weaknesses, as I said, you need to plan. Should I work on my weakness or not? Is it an acceptable? So there's something called as an acceptable weakness. Guys, nobody can be without weaknesses. Trust me. Nobody will be without weaknesses, whether in your exam reference or in your normal life also. Everybody has their own weaknesses. But as a person, you need to understand, is a weakness going to hamper my future growth? For example, if I give you a normal life example, let's say you want to be a person who's a good manager and a good leader, but you are shy, you are an introvert. It's a problem for you. How can you be a leader and a good manager by not being able to communicate to people with confidence? So it is not an acceptable weakness. Whereas some areas which, let's say I'm forgetful. I forget a lot of things. I'm forgetful. But there is enough technology available with me to help me in my life. I have been using technology throughout my life with various reminders, various alarms in my mobile or in my calendar and so on and so forth, to ensure that I never miss a meeting. Before going to a meeting, I make sure what happened in the previous meeting when such a thing happened, what is the agenda. So at least I know I'm forgetful, but I'm trying to work on my weakness. It is not going to stop me. So it is acceptable to be forgetful. I'm trying to work on it. So you need to understand that there are certain acceptable weaknesses, certain weaknesses which you cannot have if you want to pursue a career. Similarly, in this also, there are certain areas which are acceptable. There are certain areas which are not acceptable. For example, if you look at the CAT exam and you say my weakness is arithmetic, then my friend, you are in a lot of trouble, because maths, or rather CAT, will ask almost 40% of the questions from arithmetic. Last year, out of the 22 questions, around 12 questions or so, or 10 questions or so came from your arithmetic. How can you say it is your weak area? I mean, you can say it is your weak area, but that is not enough. You have to work on it. You can't let it go as a weak area. However, even today, numbers, the topic called number theory, is a weak area of mine. And I'm okay with it because hardly one question or two questions come in an exam like CAT. So I don't mind. In the last 15 years, I never bothered to really work on my weakness called numbers or number theory. I was able to survive because I know it is not that big of a problem. So you need to know which of these weaknesses need to be mitigated, which of them you don't have to worry, you can let go. But again, for that, you need to have a lot of knowledge about the exam and the expectation from the exam. Okay? Then we are also going, and of course, you need to play to your strengths. As I said, in an exam, you start with your strength. Make sure that you answer as many questions in the first few minutes so that you get your confidence. Okay? Right, so there are a few questions that are coming in. How many mocks are required for MBA CET? How many should I write daily sectional mocks or not? Okay, so guys, I'll take this up. I'll take this up for sure. Don't worry. I have done this in a lot of my previous sessions also. So let me just go through some finer points in the PPT and then I will take up your questions. Okay, right. So continuing with this, and the other purpose that the mocks serve is they surprise you. Trust me when I say this, any institute, when you're looking at, for example, we at BYJU'S create mocks. So in fact, I'm one of the people who give a roadmap for the mock. So we start by saying that what is the purpose of mock number 1? What is the purpose of mock number 2? So we write the purpose first. So I ensure that it is not just a collection of questions and thrown at you. So we make sure that when I say, okay, mock number 5, so I will say this mock number 5, the purpose of this is to give you a completely surprising LRDI section. Let's keep the English and Quant normal. So the purpose here is to create a LRDI section which is completely going to be different from what is expected. That would be the purpose, and I'm not saying it's going to be difficult. I'm saying it is surprising. It is unexpected areas. The questions will be unexpected, but they will be easy to moderate. Similarly, if I look at, let's say, mock 6, I would say, look, I want this mock where students will be happy in English and LRDI, but the happiness is going to be completely shattered in your Quant. So I'm going to make this Quant section so extremely difficult that the students at the end of the mock should come out crying. So that is the purpose. So there's a purpose for every mock. Some of you might be thinking, why do I do that? Because CAT does that. They sometimes give verbal very difficult, sometimes they give LRDI difficult, sometimes they give math, the Quant or maths very difficult. We don't know what they're planning. So my job, or not just mine, most of the institutes do it this way. Our job will be to ensure that we give you as much throw as many surprises at you as possible so that there is nothing else left for you to be surprised about. So that is the purpose of mocks, and that cannot be achieved in writing just 4 or 5. You need to write at least, in fact, I have the numbers anyway, I'm going to talk about it. So you need to write sufficient number of mocks so that the surprises can come at you. That is the reason why we say don't keep your mocks till the last 1 or 2 or 3 months, because it is of no use. Okay, so you need to learn how to cope with dejection in the exam, not after. After the exam, see, you wrote the CAT exam, after that you are dejected, doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect anything except for your health for 1 or 2 days. But in the exam, if the first section is bad, and how will you cope up with that nervousness in the second section? Or if the second section is horrible for you, how will you go to the Quant section with that background of second section being really messed up? So that, the mental stability needs to come when we throw these surprises at you. That is another reason why the mocks are important. Okay? You will have utter loss of confidence, of course. And you need to, as I said, you need to cope up with it, because it is not always going to be hunky-dory. You will not have all the sections which are easy for you. What if the first section itself is difficult? Does it mean that if the second and third are easy, you still lose them because the first one was so bad and you could not overcome it? So you need to, get your act together, as I say, pull yourself up within the exam. The ability to do that is what your mocks will give you. Okay? Of course, as I said, learn from your mistakes. You should know what mistakes you're committing. So the mock analysis is very, very important. So this is where I'll spend 1 or 2 minutes to talk about your mock analysis. Guys, when you write a mock, any exam mock, first thing you need to do after that is solve all unanswered questions, unanswered and wrong questions, what you got wrong. Second, this is our first part of your analysis. The second part is understand why you got these wrongs. What is the reason why you got something wrong, and what is the reason why you could not attempt something? For example, if you got a maths question wrong, is it because you did not know the concept and therefore applied wrong concepts and got the answer wrong? Could be possible. If that is the case, it means that that concept probably needs to be brushed up. But if you knew the concept and still got it wrong, you need to see, is it because of the tension of the exam you made calculation wrong? Trust me when I say this, I did these kind of calculations. 6 into 7 is 35. And I did this calculation 2 times in the exam, one of the last 2-3 years if I remember. 6 7 is 35, 6 7 is 35, and twice I solved a question, 2 times I got the same answer which was not available there. But I knew that things like this can happen, so I was smart enough to understand that and move on. I did not waste more than 2 attempts on that particular question. But if you are not used to writing such exams, you will keep doing this again and again, saying that, look, I'm doing everything correct. It's a very simple question. Why am I not getting the answer? So the ability for you to understand that something is going wrong, leave it there, come back later, that should strike you at that point. It's easy for me to say this, but during the exam, is it striking you? That is the question. So when you got something wrong, you need to understand why you are doing it wrong. Is it because of the concept? Is it because of a silly mistake? Is it because so this also happens quite a lot. They ask you, they give you all big question. They say A and B are mixed, A and B are mixed. All this they'll give, and then finally they'll ask you the ratio of B and A. All of us are very fast in answering. What is the ratio of A and B finally? So there'll be an answer which talks about A and B ratio. There'll be an option which talks about B is to A ratio. This will be the correct answer. This will be the wrong answer. You did not read what they are asking. The entire question talked about milk and water, milk and water, milk and water. Lastly, they asked, what is the ratio of water to milk? Now, you are in so much of a hurry that you did not realize that the ratio has been changed. So, instead of marking 3:5, you'll end up marking 5:3. Gone. Your answer is wrong. So, this happens a lot. All this should happen in your mock, so that you learn from these mistakes. Keep that in mind that, okay, when I'm looking at these kind of questions, I have to be very careful about what I'm going to mark. Okay, so these kind of errors will happen and you have to learn from these errors. That is another reason why mocks are important. And of course, once you understand all of this, you will formulate your strategy and you experiment with it, you change it. For example, if you look at an exam like XAT, there is no sectional time limit. There is no sectional breakup. Breakup meaning you can go to any section. So you can experiment. Should I start with English? Should I start with math? Should I start with decision making? Should I start with English part of logic? Where should I start with? Depending upon what is good for you. But then that is all an experiment. You will finally figure out what is good. That is where the mocks come in. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at how many mocks are required. So as I said, ideally in an ideal scenario where there is abundance of time, there is no problem, you are writing only this, you can write as many mocks as you can, but that is not reality. Many of you are in colleges, you might be working, there is a time limit, you have to prepare also, right? You have to prepare and then write mocks, and all of this is not as easy. It's all time consuming. So given that we need, there is a little bit of time constraint, we will I'm going to put across per exam what is the acceptable number of mocks. Plus or minus 1 to that is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a reasonable number for each one of these mocks, starting with CAT. Okay, so the CAT mocks, you should start from the month of May. Okay, May and continue till the last week of November. Don't write anything in the last 3-4 days of your CAT exam. So this year CAT exam I believe will be on 27th of November because that is the last Sunday if I remember it correctly. So always CAT is on the last Sunday of November. So 27th, so 24th or 23rd should be a last mock. Give at least 4 days gap. 22nd in fact I would say. 22nd should be a last mock. After that, don't write any mock. Last 3-4 days, please don't write any mocks. Overall, the number of mocks I would expect you to write for CAT should be around 20 or 20 plus, 20, 22, 23, something like that. Now, in this is already June. June is, almost half done. This is what, 18th? Yes, today is 18th, tomorrow is 19th. So more than half is over. So June and July, 3 mocks per month. 3 mocks per month is good enough, full length mocks. August, September, October, you should be looking at writing about 4 to 5 mocks per month. So you're looking at around 12 to 15 mocks here, around 6 mocks here. And in the month of November, 3 to 4 mocks depending upon your time constraint. But as I said, keep in mind, in the first 2-3 weeks only you'll be writing your mocks, first 3.5 weeks. After that, please don't write any mocks. What else should you do apart from these mocks? So people were asking, some of the students were asking over here about sectional test. So I would recommend, in fact, this is what I've been saying, every week, please write one English sectional test. Every week, write one English sectional test, and every week write, or at least between your LR, DI and Quant. So LR, DI alternate. So if week 1, then week 2 will be Quant, week 3 will be LR, DI, week 4 will be Quant. So between LR, DI and Quant. So English will be every week. Apart from English, so basically you're looking at writing 2 sectional tests per week. English is constant. The second sectional test should be either Quant or LRDI. Either Quant or LRDI. So if this week you wrote Quant, next week will be English and LRDI. Then the week after that will be English and Quant. So keep English consistent. Okay? Alright? So that's basically as far as your CAT is concerned. I've got some queries coming my way. My VARC section is too weak. What should I do from now? Ravi, please understand. VARC in English, in Quant, in CAT is all about reading comprehension. So you will be getting out of the 24 questions in your English. You will be getting, in fact, last year I believe there were 16 questions from your reading comprehension. So the first thing you need to become good at is RC. Don't look at English as grammar, verbal, vocab, leave out all that. Just focus only and only on RC. If your RC becomes good, I can guarantee you will get a 90-95 percentile without the para-jumbles, para-completion kind of things coming your way. Only with RC being good, you can reach that 90 to 95 percentile without a problem. So please make sure that you work on your RC first. Okay? Okay, so now the question is, why 20? 20 is a huge number. So why should a student write 20 mocks? And this is what I want to talk about. So here, I will draw a graph and explain. And this is something which I've observed with a lot of students. I've taken this in a couple of my earlier sessions too. This is the number of mocks. This is the score. Okay, now when you write your CAT, especially for CAT, what happens is, when you start writing your first mock, mock number 1, mock number 2, mock number 3, and so on, let's say mock number 10, and then you finally come to your 99, 20. So when typically you start your mocks, you will start from some score, you will get some score. Normally what happens is, your score goes a little higher in the beginning and then it starts dropping. It drops drastically. Around 10th mock or 9th mock, this could be 10th, 11th for some people. Then it picks up. This is how the graph usually for students is. This is what you will be achieving at the end if you write around 20 to 22, 23 mocks. Now what usually happens, and this is irrespective of whether you write, see, the graph is true. For 99% of the people, this graph is true. Which means a person who writes 5 mocks will reach only this position. Or probably 5 is not that number. Let me be a bit more correct. I'm a quant person, so I should be a bit more correct. So let's say this is 5. So a person who wrote only 5 mocks, irrespective of when he's starting, let's say he started in the last month, didn't have time. You will just go from here and reach this point, that's it. The 5 mocks have effectively not given you any benefit. Because your benefit comes in these mocks over here. That is where the benefit comes. Now, you might wonder why this happens. Why this fall happens. It's a very nice logical thing. When you start your preparation, you will not have too many topics that you can attempt. There are very few topics and you have the full time. The time is full, 40 minutes per section. That will not change. But when you just started preparing, you are confident only about few topics. And those few topics, but a lot of time, you will get whatever answer you can. Slowly, as you keep practicing more and more and becoming faster and faster, you're writing more mocks, the speed should increase. When that practice happens, your knowledge is increasing, but the speed will not typically increase as fast as your knowledge is increasing. So what happens slowly when you come to this 5th mock, 6th mock onwards in this horizon is you have a lot of topics that you can attempt, but the time is still 40 minutes per section. So then you are starting to get confused, which topic should I take? So in that confusion, you sometimes take topics that you should have left. Sometimes you you forget about topics that you're good at. All these kind of things will happen, which will actually reduce your mark than the beginning point. This is where you'll realize your mistakes. This is where you'll form your strategy. This is mandatory. You need this dip to happen. This dip is where you are starting to put your head together, trying to figure out, okay, what is the best way for me? And now I have so many questions to answer, right? And the time is still 40. The time is still 40 minutes here. It is 40 minutes here also. So in the same time, how can I answer more questions? Because my knowledge is also matching up. If that is the case, your strategy will then right strategy at that point with the guidance of your mentor or with your friends or whoever else it is who's helping you out will help you pull up and finally come out of this pit. Usually students drop out here. This is the dropout. So people usually drop out at this saying that, look, I am very demotivated now, my marks are going down. People don't realize that the marks are going down because of a particular reason. And if you can understand the reason and work on it, the next thing has to, it's just that it will take up for sure. But you don't have the patience to let it take up. You don't have the patience to sit and analyze. If that is the case, then yes, you will quit at this point. So guys, all of you, many of you will be in this area right now. This is June. This is typically when I get crying calls from my students saying that, sir, my mocks are gone. Last one week, 2 weeks mocks have been atrocious. My verbal is going down the drain. I used to be good. Now I'm not even getting 50% of what I used to get. My quant used to be very good. Now I'm not getting even 40-50% of what I used to get. All those calls typically come in the month of June, July. Because many people who are serious, they reach this point of 10, 11, 12 mocks at this in these months at least. But then that is where you need to have the patience and the confidence and more importantly, the support from your mentor. Somebody who can tell you what is the error that you're doing and make sure that you come out of this pit. Okay? Suraj, you should look at mocks and sectional for the next 2 months. As I said, I gave you the number of mocks, right? Please keep this in mind. This is the number of mocks you need to write for CAT. All right. Ajay is asking, okay, this is a good question, Ajay. How to complete syllabus to complete mocks? Ajay, syllabus and mocks are independent. They are not dependent. You should write your mocks even before the syllabus is completed. So don't wait for the syllabus to complete to start writing your mocks. Many of the students do this mistake. Sir, my syllabus is not completed. How can I write the exam? Guys, this is not a board exam. This is not a school exam. Your syllabus will keep on getting completed. So it is, I'm not a verbal faculty, but it's a continuous tense. It is always going to happen, happening. It will never be completed. Keep that in mind. So given that, you have to ensure that your mocks are not dependent on your subject knowledge. So your mocks are to handle the pressure. Your mocks are to handle a lot of different things that I mentioned, not just about answering questions. Okay? Right, next. So that's basically why I wanted to explain about the importance of mocks. So please guys, remember this diagram that I hand drawn over here. This is where the danger area lies. That is where the students quit. Please do not quit. And if you feel that you are in this area, reach out to your mentors. They will help you out. Okay? Okay, next, XAT. Now, here onwards, I'll quickly take you through the number of mocks per exam. XAT exam, typically write it in the month of October, November, December. October, you can write 1 or 2 mocks. November 1 or 2 mocks, December write 4 to 5 mocks because the exam will be in the first Sunday of January. So you will not have enough time in January. Overall, you can write around 6 to 8 mocks for XAT. It is required because XAT is a paper which allows you to take any section at any point. So it's not like CAT. It's way different from CAT. So you can't just write 2-3 mocks and go to the XAT exam. You need to have at least 6 to 8 number of mocks to understand the difference between CAT and XAT and formulate a different strategy for your XAT exam. Now, why am I not saying XAT requires 20 mocks or so? Because by then you would have given 20 or 18 or 20 mocks of CAT. Now that would have served some purpose of putting the pressure on you and handling pressure. So you already know about it. So it's not, so all these numbers are assuming that you have given around 18-20 mocks of CAT. That is the reason why the other mocks will be slightly lesser in number. Okay, if you are writing only XAT and not writing CAT, then I would say write about 15-16 mocks of XAT. So that's how it's going to be. So if you're writing only 1 or 2 exams, then and CAT is not a part of it, then make sure that you double the numbers that I put here. But if you're writing CAT and the other exams, then these numbers are perfect for you. Okay. Next is IIFT. Overall should be around 6 to 8 mocks again for IIFT. Again, IIFT, like XAT as I mentioned, does not have a sectional time limit. So you can go across the sections. That's the beauty of it. That is the reason why I say you need more mocks for IIFT. It's also a question paper which tests a lot of different aspects in a student compared to what a CAT exam does. So you can start with this IIFT exam in the month of August, right? 1 mock, that's enough. September, you can write 2 mocks. October, you will be more focused on CAT, so write 1 mock, that's enough. December, depending upon the exam date, you can write about 2 mocks for your IIFT. Okay, that's as far as your IIFT. Mamta, from where to take mocks? Mamta ideally should become a member of any of the coaching institutes. Like we at BYJU'S, we give out mocks. We have a full CAT program which includes mocks, material, everything else. So ideally you get mocks from this. There are a lot of free mocks available, but again, the problem with free mocks is you need to be sure about the quality of the free mocks. Okay, not many free mocks out there are really good quality. So if you want a good quality, please enroll in any of the test programs. Okay. Rahul is asking thoughts about Sidnem Pumba. If I don't get JB this time, should I wait because I have gap? I completed graduation. Ratul, see, Sidnem is a good college. No doubt, it's a good college. But again, you're talking about JBIMS and Sidnem. JBIMS will be in the top 12 in the country. Sidnem, frankly, in the rating wise, will not be in the top 20 in the country. So your comparison is, you are saying that I will go to either JB or I'm going to Sidnem. There are a lot of other colleges in between also. So please take a look at the other colleges in between. Okay, and should you wait because you have a gap? See, gap is not a problem as long as you get a job right now. You get a job, and if you are thinking of working for the next 6-8 months, there is no problem. If you don't have a job and you are saying that I have to spend 1 more year in preparation, then I would say please join Sidnem. Clear? Okay, the next exam is NMAT. 7 to 8 mocks. In fact, less than this is also fine. Around 6 to 7 is fine because NMAT usually does not throw surprises. It is usually a standardized exam. It doesn't change its face too often like the other exams. So, like GMAT, you write 10 GMAT exams, you will feel all 10 are similar. Similarly, NMAT does not throw too many surprises. So you don't need too many mocks, but if you're writing already 6-7 mocks of IIFT, you're writing already, the only reason why I gave 7 to 8 mocks is because NMAT happens earlier than any other exam. That's the problem. Right, so NMAT happens in the month of, it starts in the month of October, goes on till December. It's a 3-month exam. You can write in any one of the 3 months. So because this is one of the earliest exams, I've put in a higher number. But if you're writing it later, after taking IIFT also, after taking in, if you're writing it in the month of December or November, then probably 5 mocks or 6 mocks is also fine. So 1 each ideally in July and August, and 2 each in September, October and November. So that's about 6 to 8 mocks that you're going to look at for this NMAT. The next exam is SNAP. Once again, now SNAP is just an 1-hour exam. It's a 1-hour exam, 60 questions. You're going to finish 60 questions in 60 minutes. That's the kind of exam you're looking at. speed is of utmost importance. That is the reason, despite the exam being in December or January, I have still given 6 mocks, because this is even more faster an exam compared to your NMAT or IIFT or of course CAT and XAT. So this is a very short exam and high number of questions in a very short span of time. This requires a little bit of different approach. So that's the reason why I've given around 6 mocks for SNAP. October and November, December 2 and 3, and 1 or 2 in Jan, depending upon the exam date. If the exam is happening in December itself, please push all of this to December. So December will be having your XAT mocks, it will be having your NMAT mocks, it will be having your IIFT mocks, it will also be having your SNAP mocks. You have to be careful about the month of December. Okay. By the way, in BYJU'S we have this program of CAT where we give exactly the same number of mocks I'm discussing right now, because we created the mock structure keeping in mind what should be the ideal number of mocks. So whatever I'm talking about here is exactly what you get as a part of our CAT offering. Anyway, CMAT, if you're looking at, overall 5 is good enough. The reason why CMAT is less is because CMAT gives you a lot of time, less number of questions. It's not the pressure that you need to be really worried about. So it's just to get a hang of it. Even 3 to 4 mocks is good enough for CMAT as far as I'm concerned. You don't even need to write 5 mocks, but 5 is on the upper side. If you're having a lot of time, that's fine. But otherwise, 3 to 4 mocks to understand the structure is good enough. December, January and February is the timeline for you. This year, CMAT I think happened in the month of March or February. I don't remember exactly when it happened. But yes, you should be looking at December, Jan and Feb. December, if it is becoming too hectic for you, you can take it in Jan and Feb also. Okay, it's not that you have to write something. You can adjust your December. Your December month is going to have a lot of mocks. Keep that in mind. Then you're looking at MAHCET. Somebody was asking about MAHCET. Again, MAHCET this year is not yet happened. It's going to happen in the month of, I think, August. The dates are not yet out, or 22nd, 23rd, something like that. But ideally, it happens in the month of March or April, ideally, every year. This year, I don't know, for some various reasons, it got postponed by a lot. So this year, it should have happened in April, May, but it's yet to happen. It's going to happen in the month of August. But ideally, keeping in mind that, or assuming that next year it's going to happen on time, not like this year, you're going to look at around 6 mocks for MAHCET. Again, MAHCET is a big exam, about 1,20,000, 1.2 lakh people, 1.3 lakh people write this exam. So it's got a lot of competition. So it makes sense to have at least 6-7 mocks coming your way as far as MAHCET is concerned. Then if you're looking at exams like MICAT, 4 mocks. Again, MICAT, I'm saying 4 to 5 mocks, not because it is very difficult, because it is entirely different. So the MICAT structure itself is different, because of which I would definitely say 5 mocks you need to write for MICAT. At least look at the last 4-5 years papers to ensure. So look at the papers and then also write mocks. So that is the best way for MICAT. It is very different from your other MBA entrance exams. If you're looking at TISSNET about 4 to 5, again, because you have an exam where there are 100 questions, the time is about 2 hours. But the problem with TISSNET is this has 40 questions of GK and 60 questions of English plus Quant plus LRDI. And the cutoff for TISSNET will be in the range of 80 plus. So even if you get all 60 correct, you still need 20 questions correct from your GK. That is a problem in your TISSNET. Many students who are preparing for MBA do not prepare for their GK. That is where all of them falter in your TISS. So if you are serious about TISSNET, write about 4-5 mocks, but more important than that, you have to be very, very good in your GK preparation. Alright, so that is basically what I wanted to discuss today, my friends. Giving you an idea about the importance of mocks, once again reiterating the importance of mocks, but more importantly today I have given you a breakup of exam wise what is the number of mocks you can expect to write, or you should be writing going into the future. Right, so this is the course that I was talking about. We have a CAT 2022 comprehensive program. You can always contact this number if you are really interested in understanding this course and trying to probably enroll into this course. So this is, I'm just going to highlight this number over here. This is the number. So please feel free to reach out to us. And of course, our CAT offering has the entire gamut of mocks that I just discussed. We give you all these mocks and more than this. In fact, there are 2 or 3 mocks that I have not discussed in this single exam mocks, but yes, that is also a part of it. So I hope you guys got an understanding about what is to be done about the mocks for various entrance exams. All the best in your preparation, my friends. Thanks a lot for being here on a Saturday afternoon with me. I hope this session has been interesting and useful to you. Thank you and all the best.